Tough night last night for the Dayton Pirates, losing to Harrisburg 28-7. KLIC.
Yeah.
Take a shot away from him. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
There you go.
Breathing, spinning, and popping those T's. Mike, go ahead.
Popping the T's.
Why are you talking to the mic? 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're good. Ray.
I'm here, and this is To the Root of It with Ray Kyle, and now this morning, Mickey.
Is that on the Facebook?
There you go.
Okay, Kyle, say something.
All right, now I'm testing this microphone, and it's going out on the internet. My level's always good like that. That sounds great. I'm going to turn the phones down. That should make it a little bit more listenable to us.
Oh, yeah, there you are.
All right.
That's the right temperature.
And
Brr.
Are you experiencing a burr right now?
Brr.
Well,
I had to go hunt up more layers today.
I know, and it's only getting colder. It seems, and not just
Yeah,
colder,
it's-
but dry. My lips, they're sucked into my body.
Pack a tube of Blistex.
I didn't have
Yeah.
any. I have like dozens scattered throughout the house during summertime, but for some reason now that I need them again, nowhere to be found, nowhere in the car. But yeah, absolutely, just put it all over the face.
$1.29. Get another tube.
$1.20. No, I will spend $100 and make sure
Oh,
that I have
yeah.
dozens and dozens
Yeah,
of
this
them.
this kind of dry, windy area just really sucks the moisture out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Plants for sure, but me too.
Right, right.
Yeah, turn me into a raisin.
But the cold has been getting us. Maybe we should talk about that snow that people were kind of making fun of that didn't happen, but it wasn't necessarily
Well, we got-
predicted in so much that snow was going to happen so much as freezing rain was definitely going to happen.
Well, people go to the extremes anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
here in the Willamette Valley, especially in Yamhill County, we do have different types of weather, and there's places in Yamhill County that got snow and got ice, and
Right.
seriously got winter.
I think last year people were thinking that. We're thinking of last year when we
Yeah.
got the snow, and it's like, oh, there's a possibility of snow. So since last year happened, then X plus.
Well, see
Why?
what this was. This was just kind of like a shot across the bow to let us know what could happen, just to remind us, get people over to Les Schwab, but that sort of stuff.
Right,
you know,
get those studies like you're
Line
saying
'em up,
last
baby.
week.
It's
Nobody's
gonna
getting
be
studded
ugly.
tires yet, but now
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, go get your studs.
Now this is kind of different than what happened last December, from what I'm
Yes,
expecting.
yes.
Because last December it was drier, and I was pretty happy when I saw the plants in my garden covered in ice. I
Yeah.
was like, "Ooh, well, they're now protected."
Yeah, it's better than this icy wind.
Right, which is kind of like what I woke up to. Went to bed last night with just clear skies, expecting
it is
temperatures.
gorgeous, though.
All of the stars were there. It's
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
to see them.
They all got plugged in.
You can see the different colors, and you're not looking through a fog or a cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's
But they do. That means that the temperatures are going to drop more.
well, and this is just like I said. This is just an opening game. Later on, we'll get it, and we'll get it really cold again this winter too, somewhere along the way. Last winter that little shot there between December 2 and December 9, when it
Yeah.
got down to like 20 degrees and killed everything.
Right,
It's-
exactly.
Or seriously wounded the arborvitae.
Mm-hmm.
People wonder why is just one limb brown? Well, just one limb got killed.
Right.
Or just
The wind was
yeah.
right there.
The side that was facing the east wind, that half the lavender fell over.
Exactly.
You know.
Yep. And I'm still dealing with those things.
Yeah, we went on all year long.
But you've got a forecast for us. What are we looking for?
Well,
real quick?
this is our favorite Rufus weather weather
Oh
report.
wait! Before we've got somebody sitting next to you, and
Oh
and
yeah,
they're
let's introduce Mikey.
Well, we introduced him, but we're gonna keep him silent real quick. We're gonna lead into him. We're gonna build up into him.
Okay.
But we can't forget that we have a guest coming up. Let's say.
Right. Yeah, so get your second cup of coffee and stick around here because we have Mike Kuntz, who's the director of the 4-H program here in Yamhill County, and he's got some really interesting things about extension and who we are, why we are, and being as how this just was an election period.
Right.
That little 0.7 cents down at the bottom of your tax statement,
Oh,
that
okay.
actually helps fund Mikey.
That
Ouch.
microphone shouldn't even be on,
No.
and you shouldn't hit that.
But anyway, so we brought him on to let us know what's coming up, what's going on, programs that are available to get started this time of the year.
Right. So with that tease, let's get back into the weather because
Okay.
you've got Rufus's update and Rufus. I was reading more about him because it's important too. And the guy's been around. He had an email service that started back in 1994, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It's always been free. Out there and right now at OVS.com they give him a really decent prop page
Right.
there. But his newsletter is still available for email, and but we like to talk about him because he is so specific. and he's amateur, but he's about as professional amateur as you can get.
We ought to figure out a way to get Rufus on the show.
Sure,
If Rufus is
sure.
listening this morning.
We
gonna-
could pressure him, just say
Yeah.
Rufus, Rufus.
Yeah,
Sure.
get the crowd. But anyway,
but what is he saying in
Well-
his latest update?
this wind issue is going to continue, and it's going to get cold, seriously. The Canadian air is coming down in the next, well, this was written on Friday morning, so within the next 36 hours, what we're going to have is out there.
Oh,
And that's going to stick
it's
around.
out east?
No,
Or
no,
it's out
outside.
west? Oh.
Right outside this radio
This
station.
is what we're
This
doing.
right now is
Because
the-
it's not going
yeah.
anywhere.
It's our little slice of the polar vortex, folks.
I see.
A little slice of it.
I see.
Yeah,
Just
it's
barely drooping
Yeah,
down.
what blew down the Columbia Gorge is what we got.
Okay.
You know,
And-
anyway,
and so
it's not
we're-
the zombie freeze of.
It's bright sun, but it's not warm. It's not the upper 50s that I'm needing.
Yeah,
we're,
and
we're looking at
he's-
40.
He's saying this is going to stick around till the middle of the week, which pretty well coincides with what the National Report is saying now.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes he's really good. I mean, he's like,
Sometimes,
well, no, when he differs from the National Report,
right?
I take him.
So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Clear today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. We're getting partly cloudy back, and then Wednesday we're looking for chances of rain.
Yep.
And next weekend, chances of rain.
It's
cloudy,
going to warm
cloudy,
up.
cloudy.
It's going to warm up to be one of them windy, rainy events that goes on for a week.
It is warming up to be actually 43 degrees. Okay, that is.
I'm sorry. I beg your humble pardon.
And for me, what it's this weather as a gardener, as a lawn owner, as a person who would like to get rid of some grass, it's tantalizing because I can't spray what I need to
No,
spray.
you can't do nothing now.
Because the plant activity isn't there. So it's bright enough. There's no wind, so
No.
there's no spraying going
No,
up in the air.
no,
It's
no, no.
perfect except cold.
Cold. Yep.
But
no.
you know what I'm going to do, Ray?
Are you gonna?
I'm going to spray.
Are you?
I'm going to do it. I
Are
got
you?
to do it. It's too perfect otherwise. Just because one very important factor isn't there, I cannot be deterred.
Well, you can go ahead and do her for sure. Give her a good soaking, and then some of it'll just lay there and dry onto the leaves, and then in March of 2015 it'll warm up enough to actually.
You're right. I'll get
Yeah.
the 6-month one down
Yeah.
on there. Right.
Yeah, get the year-long one so it hangs there for a while.
Yeah, but what I printed out is some of the weather forecasts for the various weather stations here in the in Yamhill County. So we got Newburgh, Sheridan here, and what piqued my interest is that Sheridan is going to be about 3 degrees warmer than, let's say, Newburgh and Yamhill, and that's I can't explain that, but that's what it says.
There actually is an explanation for that.
All right.
Yep, and it has to do with the topography
Mm-hmm.
of Yamhill County.
Okay.
We have these little valleys that go out to the coast.
Yes. No, don't turn around.
Oh.
Keep looking. Keep talking, because we have these little.
These little valleys that go out to the coast, and they're little funnels of coastal air that come in and blow into areas.
Like Van Duzer? Is that
Yeah,
right?
the Van Duzer corridor,
Right.
and the coastal winds get to Sheridan first,
Okay.
and so it's going to be like 2 or 3 degrees warmer.
Because the wind, when
the-
you have wind, it's actually
Yeah,
warmer.
the wind is coming in as opposed to like us and Newburgh North
Mm-hmm.
that are still under the influence of the Columbia Gorge, blowing cold air down.
I get it.
That's why there's a difference. That's why sometimes things will grow a little earlier in Sheridan than they will in, say, Carleton.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had friends coming over from Portland, and as they were coming over the mountains there into Newburgh, they said that there was still frost on the other side, on the
Yep.
eastern side, but you came right down and it's all gone.
Yeah, that's why we have this little Garden of Eden here that we call Yamhill County that we like to play in and plant things.
That's
and
right.
Everything in the world grows here practically.
Yeah, it's
well, that
pretty-
might be an exaggeration. But
Pretty perfect. Know what else you can do with this weather in the garden is a little repair. I got to get some more boxes repaired. And the photography, though, during that frost day for me was
Oh,
great.
God,
I had
I
my
bet.
little phone camera out, and everything was just great. I had a moss clump that was just converted in ice, and it looked almost like a snow globe.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Yes, incredible.
Yeah, this is the time when, I mean, yeah, you're not actually planting anything, or whatever, but now's a good time to be doing the maintenance on things and fix fence, clean off the bean vines off the trellises and repair your trellises and things like that.
It's still a good time for me to dig holes in the ground for tree plantings that are still in their pots for me, because the ground is not yet completely muddy. And when we have these dry days like this and stacked on top of each other, it becomes pretty perfect soil for me.
I'd go for it.
Yep.
Because in another 2 or 3 days, that sucker's going to be froze hard as a brick. You'd be digging in the driveway.
Yeah,
Pick and shovel, babe.
I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to take a little break?
Why don't we take a break, because we've
And then
got
we'll come back with Mikey.
Yeah, because we're going to
Stick around, folks. We have an interesting guest this morning.
We're going to talk extension history, because it's really
Yep.
important. I try and throw it in every once in a while, but this is really the meat of it. So stick around. You're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM.
Happy? That's why Recology actively manages their compost to ensure the highest level of microbial activity. The rich soil amendments promote healthy plant life in your vineyard, your nursery, your yard, and your garden. Recology's compost, which is certified for organic growing, can enhance overall soil quality, provide plants with nutrients they need to grow larger and healthier, minimize the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides, increase your soil's ability to hold moisture and retain nutrients, feed helpful earthworms, create a buffer for your plants against common toxins in the soil, and control pH levels and support essential bacterial growth. It's more than just compost. It's food for your soil. Northwest Greenland's a Recology company. In McMinnville at 2200 Northeast Orchard Avenue. Call Recology Northwest Greenlands at 503-434-1671. 503-434-1671. Recology Northwest Greenlands, a proud sponsor of To the Root of It on KLYC. Online Northwest is your gateway to the planet. Online Northwest is Yamhill County's only locally owned and operated internet and phone service provider. Online Northwest, downtown McMinnville, has been providing local friendly service and support since 1997. Residential and business services include high-speed internet, phone, fiber solutions, web design and hosting, co-location, television, and much more. Online Northwest coverage areas include parts of Washington, Yamhill, Polk, Marion, and Tillamook counties. Call Online Northwest at 503-883-9200 or visit them at onlinenw.com for more information. Online Northwest is the internet and phone service provider for KLYC Radio.
Ray and Kyle, your weekly gardening show.
And this morning, after the second cup of coffee,
Right.
we have Mike Kuntz, who is the director of 4-H here at Yamhill County, and has going to come in this morning and give us a little background on 4-H and extension and what it is, why we are, who we are, and why we're very, very handy to have around.
Well, why don't we start there, Ray? What is extension? Because I'm kind of curious of just 2 sentences. What is the extension services?
Extension is the public outreach arm of the Department of Agriculture for Oregon State University, a land-grant university. That's all I know.
No, actually, that's pretty perfect because that's pretty word for word about what you're supposed to say. However, Mike, good morning, Mike.
Good
You are
morning,
on
Mike.
the air now. And what Ray said about extension services is that you can obviously elaborate on that.
Yeah, looking at the history, I think it helps us to understand what does it exist for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it is an extension of the university here in every county in Oregon. And it's not just in Oregon, but the Cooperative Extension Service is a network of land-grant universities across the country.
Okay. And the world even, right?
Well, actually, it's pretty unique to
Mhm.
the United States.
Okay.
Now, other countries have come over to try to figure out, you know, how they can get something like that started. So I think there's possibly other countries that
Mhm.
are modeled after the United States.
There you
but,
go.
But we led the world in this system of extension service and land-grant university.
And so what I usually tell people is the mandate of the Master Gardeners is to take the information from that is learned from like an OSU or educational other land grant universities and to get that out to the public, because that's essentially what extension is there for. It's required to do that, right?
Yes, that's correct. If you want, I could tell you a little more of the history on how.
I would love to hear the history, because it starts over 100 years ago.
That's correct. And in fact, it really starts with the values that the founders of our country had, believing that an educated public was necessary for a successful democracy. So in the height of the Civil War, it was President Lincoln who signed into law the Morrill Act. And that granted basically a lot of federal property to each of the states for them to establish a university or a college at that time. And the mission for that college was to be focused curriculum on agriculture, on engineering, and on military tactics. And at that time, most universities or colleges in the United States were classical, law, literature, Latin, and pretty much were open to the wealthiest of the country to attend. So this was really a citizens'
Because
university.
there were really more farmers who were too busy farming the land and raising the families and getting the cows and all of that taken care of, and they couldn't go and learn about Plato and Aristotle, which really didn't have any relevance to when they came back to the farm.
Yes, in fact, you bring out a good point. They didn't have time. And that's actually how the Extension Service got started.
Mhm.
So the land-grant university got established, research was going on, and then they begin to discover that, hey, they're learning lots of great stuff about planting or livestock or engineering. But in this case, in Oregon, the farmers are still on the farm, and they don't have time to come to Corvallis.
Mhm.
And so that's what the extension was an extension of the university in every county, because they should be able to benefit from the public research. That
Well,
was
tax
generated.
dollars are going into the university, and so this way all of the taxpayers are getting the benefit of what is learned at these universities.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, what I think what's really important is the website at extension.oregonstate.edu. Vast information about not just because this is a gardening show, but the extension is for the agriculture, of which gardening is a very specific topic. But you've got vineyards, orchards, anything that grows, anything that you have to feed. Is basically there are papers dating back years for.
When did Extension start in Oregon?
Extension started in Oregon in 1911, and that's 3 years before the nation. So Oregon led the nation in this movement of creating an extension service. And then in 1914, the Smith-Lever Act was passed, and that funded basically the federal government became a partner with the Cooperative Extension Service. So it's called cooperative, although I think we've dropped that title in Oregon because it's a cooperation of federal, state, and county tax dollars, as well as a huge amount of in-kind donation to volunteers, because Extension uses a lot of volunteers to leverage and help get the information out for program delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's grants and donations and there's quite a cooperation going on.
We, as master gardeners, are part of that whole scenario as something that started up at the University of Washington back in the 70s, I think it was, and has since, Master Gardeners has since spread to every land-grant university in the United States, I think. Even Cal State Fullerton, you know, in the middle of the concrete jungle,
Even them.
has a Master Gardener program. So that always kind of interested me. It's and it is interesting that Oregon started 3 years before it was a national program. It's kind of like we're early.
It's because we live in this Eden, as you often call it, right?
Well,
everything, everything grows here. We notice it. We can grow everything.
Yeah.
But some of the examples of extension, you've got honeybee expert. What was interesting is there are 14,000 volunteers for extension, not just Master Gardens, but throughout the extension service here in Oregon. That is a lot of people that are just volunteering their time to get out the kind of information about gardening, honeybees, orchards, and things like that. 14,000.
And Kyle, they estimate that that's the value of 800 full-time faculty equivalents.
Wow.
The work that they do.
That is incredible. That's you, Ray.
Well, and you too, and
You're right.
You know, and to the root of it.
Right.
That's what we are. We are public information. We help people with their gardening questions, but for us specifically, it's the backyard gardener.
Right.
Yes, there are people at Extension that do cover the major commercial crops and industries, vineyards.
Canning. Food prep, canning.
Well, that'd be us.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, no, that's not us. But
those are the
that's
canning
that's
masters.
actually Maria.
Yes.
She teaches classes in canning
Right, exactly.
and food
Just
prep.
one of the other things for
Just
extension.
one of the things that come out of Extension, as well as 4-H.
4-H.
Yeah,
That's
that's Extension too.
I was in 4-H, and I was in it for almost 6 months before we moved to a place that there was no really 4-H after that point. But yeah, there's 4-H programs, and every time I go to the county fair, I go and I watch them, and these kids are so excited. Except for when they're walking the pigs. When they're walking those pigs around in the arena, they're stoic. They're straight-faced, and then they tap the pig on the butt. And the pig moves. But yeah, 4-H is an awesome program that's offered too.
Well, it gives people, youngsters, gets them started with life skills that they're just not going to get everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So anyway, how many kids you got in 4-H this year?
Well, in Yamhill County, we reached
Just in Yamhill County.
about 750 kids through the 4-H program.
Wow.
But that's there's quite different types of 4-H or different delivery models. Most people are familiar with the traditional club-based model, clubs led by our volunteers. We have about 160 volunteers in the county, and they meet with kids and help them learn about kind of the areas of interest that the kids have.
Well, yeah, my grandsons actually took robotics
Yeah, that's right. That's one of the other.
through the 4-H
That's
program.
an after-school.
It's an after
4-H program.
right. And because 4-H is not just raising sheep and goats and cows and horses and stuff like that. It's also agriculture. It's also horticulture.
It's getting people ready for the new wave of whatever it is, because even teaching robotics is helpful, even if you're a future farmer of America, because robots are going to be very helpful in the farm coming up. So it's very beneficial.
Well, even you had a drone.
I had. You use it in the past tense. It's.
Sorry about that.
I have a drone.
You have a box of drone.
I have a drone that is just needs to be disassembled and reassembled.
Yeah.
And yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yes,
But
technology, robots.
Technology
Yes,
is here.
it's part of agriculture. It's part of
Yeah.
farming, and it's part of even those wildlife cameras that you're sticking out there to make sure the deer aren't eating your roses. Those are just things too.
Well, even like the big combines out in Central Oregon, up around Wasco and stuff, years ago they had GPS. So they knew exactly where they were at in the field, and they could calculate yields based on area. They could analyze it for fertilizer and specifically determine where they needed more of a certain chemical in a 1,000-acre field.
Because you've got that GPS marker.
Yeah, it just click,
and
boom.
even and it keeps them going straight in a line, because
that
just
too.
going off like a couple of inches every so often, you lose so much. So it keeps them in a straight line.
And then you get crop circles. But we
Why don't we?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break really quick. When we come back, we'll talk more about extension and 4-H. But for right now, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM.
The Harvest Fresh and check in with Bob and see what's on special today. Bob, how you doing today?
David, I tell you, we have a tradition here at Harvest Fresh, and every year we have giant heads of cabbage for people to make, sauerkraut and whatnot. But the last 2 years, the crops haven't been real good for this particular farmer, and he didn't think he was going to have it this year. Well, guess what? We got some in. And so we got the giant heads of cabbage on sale this week for 33 cents a pound. These are grown right outside of the Wilsonville area, and they're just absolutely phenomenal looking. So I invite everybody to come down and grab some of that. It's a little late, but better late than never, I guess. And we also have that local winter squash still at 2 pounds per dollar. We have new crop opal apples at $1.99 a pound. We have the 3-pound bag little cutie tangerines at $5.99 a bag, and we have fresh Oregon-grown cranberries at $2.29 each. Over in the organic section, we got green kale, 2 bunches for $4. 5-pound bag organic russet potatoes at $2.49 a bag. Fresh organic cranberries at $3.49 a bag, and jumbo yellow onions at 99 cents a pound. Over in the meat department this week, we have your choice of chorizo, sage, or mild bulk sausage. All these are made here at the store, and they're on sale this week at $4.99 a pound. We also have Draper Valley antibiotic hormone-free chicken whole fryers at $2.49 a pound. And to top off the meat department this week, we have some nice-looking local caught fresh red snapper fillets at $7.99 a pound. And I just wanted to tell everybody, don't forget to get those turkeys ordered. They come in next Sunday. I can't believe we're already that close, but we're getting really close, and we still got quite a few that we can still pre-order. So don't forget to get your orders in. And that'll do it, Dave.
Hey, thank you very much, Bob. Great place to go for healthy food, especially this time of year, getting ready for Gobble Gobble Day, Turkey Day. Get those turkeys ordered. Did you know that a burglary occurs in this country every 42 seconds and that a home without a security system is up to 3 times more likely to be burglarized? D&D Security McMinnville wants to be your security contractor. D&D Security is a licensed low-voltage contractor and offers everything from intrusion to fire detection to digital surveillance and 24-hour central station monitoring. 503-472-4003. Ready to go to work for you right now. D&D Security and Communications, McMinnville.
Back, you're tuned right here to The Root of It on KOYC 1260 AM. Hi, Ray.
Hey, I'm still here.
I feel you. All bundled up over there. Great.
Oh, I have 3 layers just to be inside.
And it's warm in the studio. We've got the lights on because we are streaming on Facebook. And as always, you can get us KOYC.us. And the show is going to be up on the YouTube
Yep.
Right after we're
we,
done here.
We do have call-in availability. If someone has a question and wants to just call into the show, you can call us at 503-435-1260, and we'll answer your question on the air. We're not the least bit shy, obviously.
No, we can always get answers too. And during the week, if you have questions, you can get Ray at totherootofit.com. I'm
Yep.
Kyle at totherootofit.com.
Yes, and did you mention the Master Gardener website?
Well, you've been here. No.
That was so 2 minutes ago.
All right. Master Gardener website. Are you talking about Yamhill County Master Gardener?
.org.
.org. Or
That's another one.
Well, since you've got that pen out and you're writing things down as you drink your coffee, you can also go to extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill, and boom, there we are, the office that's located at 2050 Lafayette Avenue in McMinnville. There, did we get everything out there?
That's it.
I hope that,
I think we're done now. But
somebody-
if you have any questions, you can call us at 503-435-1260. Yeah, never mind. Nobody wants to talk to us this morning. But anyway.
Go ahead, Ray.
So anyway,
Go ahead, Ray.
Mikey, we were discussing after school
You have to
programs.
reintroduce after the break.
That's right. We have Mike Kuntz, director of the 4-H program at Oregon State University Extension in Yamhill County, with us this morning, and he's. Oh, you dropped everything.
Ignore me.
Okay. Anyway, good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ray.
Yeah, we were discussing 4-H programming, and this is kind of the beginning of the school year. Is it actually getting started for the winter?
Yeah, the 4-H year starts October 1st and runs through September 30th. So it's like a month off of the school year. So yeah, there's a lot of enrollment going on right now for kids that are getting into the project or community clubs. Before the break, we mentioned that there are different types of delivery methods of 4-H, and one of those was the after-school Lego robotics program that's here in McMinnville. And then the other, what we call the traditional program, are the 4-H clubs, volunteer-led clubs.
How long they been around?
Yeah, 4-H has been around nationally since 1902, in Oregon in 1904.
Nationally.
Nationally. And
1902.
4-H began here in Oregon in 1904 in Yamhill County.
So well over 100 years now.
Oh, yes.
That's the math right there.
Yeah.
The important information that I wanted to get about the local Yamhill County is there are ways to get a hold, because there are different 4-H programs. I'm not sure if I have the lexicon down for that, but different vehicles and mannerisms of getting it, because maybe the child isn't necessarily in the horses. Maybe they want the goats. Maybe they want so the clubs there are clubs that are specific to those kinds of interests.
Right. We have what we call project clubs. So horses is a good example of that. Most popular project in the county. There's probably 110 kids.
Is
or
it
so.
really?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's an
Expensive.
expensive project. Yes, as a father, we've got some nice land, some nice acreage. The both neighbors have horses, and so I'm looking at it as an eventuality. But I just don't see that as being the biggest one, because you've got guinea pigs.
Mm-hmm.
You've got chickens, you've got goats, but horses the most popular. Incredible.
I think it's because people love horses.
Yes.
Kind
Yes.
of like we love dogs.
Uh-huh. And if you've got the space, throw it out there. Yeah, that's incredible. So you've got these project clubs that cater to the specific, pretty much specific, because
Right.
they do other things also.
Yeah, sometimes like a horse club might have photography as well, because there's
Exactly.
an interest there. But their primary focus is equine. But then there's community clubs, and we have those. Those are some of the largest clubs in the county. Community club has a wide variety of projects that they offer. So they might have swine, they may have cooking and horticulture, art and photography. So those clubs offer a lot of different projects that kids can be a part of.
Because they're not necessarily focusing the whole term on one thing. They're doing other things, right?
Well, actually, they usually have multiple volunteers that specialize in those areas.
Oh.
So then it's like, photography is on the second Tuesday of the month, or
So it is continuous.
so
I see.
they still meet regularly throughout the year. There might be some projects that run for just a few weeks, because that's when the volunteer is available and they're going to cover that topic.
So, so the phone number to call for 4-H, we'll throw it out there a couple of times, 503-434-7517. That's the extension office. Important dates to remember for me was that if you enroll before December 31st, there's a cost savings. It's $27. If you do it before December 31st, afterwards it's $37. So that's an important date to keep in mind. Any other things about...
Well, that's good you bring that up, Kyle, because, they call that number, and what we then have to do is find placement for the child and the interests that they may have, or interests. They might have several. And then we have to find available club. A lot of clubs are already full. We started October 1st, and depending on where they live, and, do you want to drive to Dundee or Carlton, or because that might be where the clubs or... still have openings or taking kids. So basically, the extension office.
You're a matchmaker.
Right. And so that has to happen before they can actually join, to make sure there is a space for them. And that being said, it's probably good to put a plug in here that we're only limited by the amount of volunteers.
I was thinking that's where this conversation was going, because there are a limited amount of volunteers, and that's what they're looking for. I was as I was on the webpage, there's for the 4-H, again, extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill, and they had information about how to become a volunteer also, and even all of the printed materials that are suggested readings for the current volunteers on teaching for a club and how to start a club. But also, you're talking about needing volunteers for established clubs already.
That's correct. Somebody could say, I kind of like photography. I could teach kids that. They wouldn't have to start a club.
Right.
We might be able to match that volunteer to a club.
So again, the number is 503-434-7517 for more information on that. Ray, you're just sitting and nodding and just enjoying, huh?
I actually am. I'm amazed at the economics of the organization. $27 seems really cheap to me. I know for a fact that for a kid to be in a soccer club or a volleyball club or anything like that, it's a lot. And then it gets, as you go higher in the sports, it's a lot more.
Well, you do have to buy a horse, Ray.
Well, that... Yeah, there's that whole starter kit.
It's a starter kit.
Yeah, to get a horsey starter kit, you need a pickup and a trailer and a horsey and a barn.
So walk me through this, okay? Because I am about half a step away from going through and having starting projects. So let's say for my 7-year-old daughter, she wants to do a goat project. I call the number, and then what happens from there?
Well, then we would have to tell you, knowing that your daughter is 7 years old.
7 is too. I know, but
So-
she's really advanced.
Right. So there is what's called the 4-H Clover Bud program.
Okay.
And that's an exploratory program where the younger kids, 5 to 8 years old, do a variety of learning projects. So they might bake cookies one time, and next time they're doing horticulture, and the next time after that some art.
Trying to dabble their interests in
Exactly.
it all. Okay.
And some leaders are great because they even go beyond just a project, and they focus on, hey, we're going to talk about people who serve the community, and they tour the fire hall or the police station or something
Okay.
like that with the kids.
So as advanced as she is, we got to start. What was it called? Clover
Bud.
All right.
I probably should mention what the 4-H's stand for, because that's usually a common question.
I didn't. I felt like I was supposed to know, so I didn't want to ask. So because I don't want to feel like, oh gosh, the H. There's a horse in there. Is it horticulture? We've got
That has nothing to do with projects, but actually has to do with the outcome of kids being involved in 4-H. It's meant to develop the head, heart, hands, and health to better the world around them.
Because it's not necessarily that you're trying to specifically teach the child to become a horse person or anything like that. You're trying to create a well-rounded individual, and to do that, you learn specific topics, and throughout that learning process, it develops you as a person. So that's what 4-H is really is really there
So
for.
it's a youth development program, and the projects are just a vehicle that we use to engage the kids. But in the end, it's like, they may know how to raise a market hog, but what they've really learned is responsibility,
Right.
critical thinking, communication skills, hopefully to some extent. And then all 4-H clubs are encouraged to take on service projects for the community. So it's
Teaching the kids about community and the importance of volunteerism
Mm-hmm.
and
They learn citizenship.
Exactly.
Is what they learn.
Yeah,
They learn
exactly.
responsibility. They learn economics of raising a hog. The basic facts of life of market society. So it's wonderful early education to kind of get them started.
yeah.
Something besides watching cartoons.
I like cartoons.
I do too.
I like watching my child watch cartoons. Sometimes they're very quiet at those moments.
Absolutely.
So again, the more information for 4-H, the phone number is 503-434-7517. You can always stop down at the extension office here in McMinnville. It's at 2050 Lafayette Avenue. And why do I always skip over the Northeast Lafayette? It always says the address is Northeast Lafayette.
I have no idea because that's the way it points.
It points north.
Yeah,
East.
that's the only thing I can figure out.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, one more time, 503-434-7517. And to confuse you, if you have any questions for us right now here on topic or off topic, Ray, the phone number is
503-435-1260, which is KLYC Radio. And we'd really like to thank Mike for coming and joining us this morning. The opportunities that Extension provides for the county is just only limited by your imagination.
right. Because if you've got an interest in agriculture, anything, that's what the extension office is down there for, right?
The Master Gardener class, I think, has a few more slots, but that's about it. It's getting pretty full.
Did you want to talk about that real quick? Because I'll give you 1 minute to talk about that because I like hearing about it.
Yeah, January the 13th is the Master Gardener class for next year. And this is an opportunity for people who have a free Thursday because it goes from 9 until 3 on Thursday. Every other week, I think. And then every other week, you're actually doing research at home on your computer. So it's part computer class, part live class. The live classes are taught by certified instructors and people with vast experience in horticulture.
Right.
And then the online classes are actually taught by the Department of Agriculture employees, professors, and things of that nature. So it's an absolutely in-depth class for the basic gardener.
Right, and I took the class. You took it. You have to take it to become a volunteer master gardener, and that's the reward at the end, right? Is all of the knowledge that's gained, and then you have the right to be a master gardener.
I'm amazed at how much money I saved the first year after I took the class, not buying expensive fertilizer and stuff.
It's true. You do.
And I killed a
earn
lot less stuff.
Yes, and so those classes, those are coming up in January.
January the
come down to the extension office, find out more
13th, I think.
information, and it is just another great way to prove the citizenship that you learned early as a child.
And it's a great way when you're an old
Volunteerism.
person to atone for your childhood.
Exactly.
Which is the way I look at it.
Exactly.
I'm finally making up for my
Yeah. So why
my
don't we
adolescence.
Why don't we talk about some frost when we come back?
Okay,
But
well-
we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to The Root of It right here, KOYC 1260 AM.
Are coming up. Make plans now to take the whole family for a wonderful 3-course Thanksgiving dinner at Golden Valley Brewery, featuring traditional carved turkey with all the trimmings, $20.95. Wild Northwest salmon dinner, $24.95. and their herb-crusted, slow-roasted prime rib for $30.95, noon to 5 p.m. Make your reservations now. This year, let Golden Valley do the cooking and have a relaxing Thanksgiving with family and friends at Golden Valley Brewery, McMinnville. Need help with your move? Do you have a last-minute move within a 60-mile radius of McMinnville? Try J&J Labor Force. For only $50, 2 movers will arrive and bring all the equipment they need to move you and your belongings. If you need a truck, rent one from J&J Labor Force at a 10% discount. Last-minute moves, their specialty. J&J Labor Force, across from the Tesoro gas station in McMinnville. Call 503-857-3344. 857-3344. J&J Labor Force. Looking for a screen print shop that is local, does great work, is easy to work with, and the price is comparable to what you'll find online? Try Devo Custom Screen Printing. They're the official KLYC t-shirt supplier, and their work on the Power of the Tower glow-in-the-dark tie-dye t-shirts has been first-rate. Devon Cottrell owns Devo's.
3 things that people need to know about screen printing is that you can get things fast, you can get things cheap, or you can get things really, really well done. And here at Devo's, we try to get the best of all 3 of those together. Devo's, you're going to get a good price, quality print, and we usually can knock things out in 3 to 4 days, depending on the size of the order.
Now, the best way to get a t-shirt project done is locally. You have much more control over it.
Actually physically see it, not get an email of what it might look like. So we're real happy that we can do that. And plus, you know, talking about those tie-dye shirts, every morning you'd show up with another box, and of course there was a gleam in my eye every time. That was a great job. I really enjoyed doing that.
Devo's Custom Screen Printing, hard to find but well worth it, on the backside of the building just south of the new Transit Center in McMinnville. Devo's, 816 Southeast 1st Street, McMinnville, 857-2396, 857-2396.
Now is the time to go to your local Kubota dealer, where you can get a great deal on a new Kubota RTV during Kubota's Gear Up and Go sales event. Thinking about a new utility vehicle? Why not choose the top-selling diesels in the U.S. for the past 10 years? The flagship Kubota RTV X1100 combines styling with features like a premium all-weather grand cab, extra-duty independent rear suspension, and power steering. Right now, get your own Kubota RTV X Series for 0 down and 0% financing for up to 48 months. So for a great deal, think orange at the Kubota Gear Up and Go sales event. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to Kubota.com.
0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 48 months on selected equipment now through September 30th, 2014. Not available for rental national accounts or government customers. 0% APR low-rate financing not available with instant rebate offers. Financing available through Kubota Credit Corporation USA subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268.
Back here on the KLYC 1260 AM, and we've got the weather still going on out there. So I wanted to touch on some frosty subjects.
And we do have a serious gardening question. We actually got one during the break.
You're absolutely right, and we should get into that.
And we will.
Good.
Well, let's start with frost, just to bring you around to what we're talking about, because it's out there.
2 types of frost,
There's
right?
2 types of frost. There's advective frost, which is kind of what's going on right now when a cold front sweeps into the area, and the winds are typically gusty out of the east. Just call your friends in Gresham and ask them what a gusty wind is like.
Right.
If they're still not cleaning up the trees. And then there's radiation frost, which happens under a clear sky and calm winds. So we went from advective frost when the storm first hit us into inversion frost, which is what's out there now, and it still just kills everything.
Right.
Not everything, but...
Well, we liked it when everything was frozen and encased in that protective ice, but then now we've just got cold.
Yeah, you can kiss your coleus and begonias goodbye for this year.
Right. So
If you didn't get them in the garage.
and that's because with the inversion, you've got the clouds that are acting
Right.
as a blanket, and so it's keeping in whatever heat we may have gotten. It keeps it in. But now that we're blessed with these clear skies,
I mean, it's a beautiful day out
the
there.
sun is going to radiate and heat up that ground, and as soon as it sets,
Yeah.
it's in space.
Yeah. The warmth is gone, and the ground surface has been warmed up and melted, and then it's going to freeze again tonight, and then you really got stuff going on. So
And we've got a call, so we're gonna figure out those buttons really quick because buttons.
good morning.
Good morning, and you are on the air.
Uh-huh. Oh, lovely.
They're very pretty.
But wouldn't all this cold weather have kind of killed them off?
Well, it'll affect them, that's for sure. And they may slowly start to just shrivel up. But what you can do is go ahead and set those pots and baskets back underneath the cover of the eaves.
Just out of the wind,
Just
right?
out of the wind, or just place them in the garage for a few days, and they'll keep going. They're pretty. I've got wave petunias that are in full blossom right now. So I just took and pulled all the pots back in by the barbecue, and they'll be fine. They'll get daylight and the reflected warmth off the deck.
I have a pot of begonias that I brought it in, and I wanted to see how they would freeze, but I knew what was going to happen if I let that happen. So I brought those in. Petunias a little stronger though, right?
They are. Were they wave petunias, ma'am?
Yes.
They're, I don't know. They seem to be more durable than I expected. Mine actually came back this spring.
You were talking about that.
Yeah. And then they dried out over summertime, and so I just whacked them all off. And I'll be dadgum if they didn't leaf out again.
Recently?
Yeah,
Right.
recently. So I would...
So just protect them.
Yeah, protect them for now. You can throw a blanket over them is enough.
But really, just
or
put a windshield
Yeah.
around them, right? Or you just take them down, make sure they're next to a wall or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
up against the house or in the garage, and you may be able to save them. I wouldn't give up on them. No.
All right. The other question, I've saved seeds during the summer. Now, do they really reseed themselves, or is that a fallacy?
Seeds from the petunias?
Yeah.
Well, that was your experience, though.
That
right?
was my experience, and I did not expect that. I thought in Oregon petunias were annuals. And I know that they're perennials down in warmer climates because you see them growing all year in Southern California. So I know that they are perennials in that sense. And I was surprised that they self-seeded in my flower pot. I don't usually have that kind of good luck. But I'll be dadgum if they didn't do that because there's no other explanation for them.
So she should probably have success with the ones that she's collected.
Yeah, I would keep your seed dry and someplace where it's in the 50 to 60 degree range, so it doesn't feel forced to sprout. But keep them in a dry container and give it a shot.
All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Because you did it without trying, Ray.
I did it without trying. And that just astounds me because I'm like I say, I'm not generally that lucky in my gardening practices. And the ones that were in with the geranium, the big purple ones that they're hanging down about 1.5 feet again already.
Incredible.
And the ones that were in with the iris and stuff like that, they're hanging over the pot just like they did in June.
Perfect.
So I don't know.
So did that answer your questions?
Does that help you at all?
Yes, it does.
It does.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you calling. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go, Ray. Answering some questions, and before we cut out, I'm going into overtime, Ray.
Okay,
We
that's
did
what
have-
we're here for.
Because we were talking about frost And we had a question from the audience here in studio about bulbs.
Yes, planting spring bulbs. But now we all
particularly alliums.
Alliums. On the box it says to plant before first frost.
Right.
First frost was like back in October.
Oh.
So you would have had to plant them like in September. But the beauty of here in the Northwest is you can plant things anytime you want because there's going to be a warm spell right after, I mean, we have vicious cold spells and then we have warm spells. And if you can catch the back end of the vicious cold spell, you may have 3 or 4 weeks for the bulbs to establish and start rooting process.
Right, and because those boxes and those bags that those bulbs come in, those have to be sold in Canada, in Minnesota, in North Dakota, where really, truly, once the first frost hits, that ground is frozen, it is concrete, and you're not putting anything in there.
Yeah, the directions are for the extremist condition that product may have to face.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, go ahead and start your spring bulb pots and things for the patio. That's another cool thing you could do in the garage with the radio playing and the heater going, and
right.
Get your butane heater fired up. And
but the frost is here.
Frost is here.
It's something that we're dealing with. It's thawing. It's not thawing.
Yep. And it will be on and off now until the 1st of June.
So enjoy those brisk. You know what I'm going to do tonight, though? I'm going out and I'm spending time among the stars because we get 12 days of clear skies.
Oh my goodness!
Year.
If you're into star watching or comet chasing or anything of that
colors,
nature, yeah,
the different, they have different colors. The stars, they're not just all one.
Especially
bright.
when you're out and away from the city and don't have any distracted reflective light. You got the perfect viewing area.
I got
there.
a pretty viewing area.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. We'll be back next week.
You've been listening to The Root of It. If you want to catch the replay of the show, it's available on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search KOIC To The Root of It. It's also replayed on KOIC.us. Don't forget there is an Android and iOS app available for KOIC Radio in the iOS store and the Google Play store. Incredible, right?
Oh.
Yeah, with that being
I don't have a phone that'll even do that.
No, you sure don't. You got one of them big button phones.
Yeah, I got the big button.
Flips.
Yeah, flip, so I can't pocket call anybody.
That doesn't prevent you from doing that, but thank you, Ray. But for now, you've been listening to The Root of It right here on KOIC 1260 AM, and as Ray always says,
keep your tools sharp.